What is going on, guys? And in this video I'll be giving you my UFC Vegas 24 co-main and main event prediction. Really hope to bounce back, really hope to get some good fights in. I picked some good fights here and there, but overall obviously it's not been working out every week, so I don't know what to say, but hopefully we can get this going. I think this card's going to be fairly decent, at least the main card. We've got a really great main event. Robert Whittaker taking on Kelvin Gastelum. Co-main event, Jeremy Stephens taking on Klose. Arlovski taking on Chase Sherman. So I think there's going to be some pretty good knockouts. Ramos versus Alvey. I think it's going to be a good main card. We'll see how it plays out for a fight night. But like I said, I'm going to go ahead, scroll through these fights, talk about any of the fights that I feel like I have an opinion on, and then we'll go from there and talk about the co-main event and the main event. So for the Fabinski versus Mearshart fight, I don't think either guy necessarily is like a standout fighter. The one thing I'm worried for Mearshart here is if like Fabinski takes him down and just kills him. But I do think Mearshart's very dangerous with grappling, and I think right now he's got to win a fight and he's got to do it in a great way. So he either gets a submission here or he doesn't and loses the fight. But I'm gonna go with Mearshart. Can't count him out. You know, he's got over 45 fights in this one, so he definitely has the experience, and I think he's capable. It's just he's been fighting like really dangerous strikers, so we'll see. But Mearshart definitely has to go for the submission in this one. For the Abdul Razak Al Hassan versus Jacob Malkoun fight, Al Hassan is moving up to middleweight for this one. He missed weight both of his last fights, got knocked out in his last fight, lost to decision. He was on the rape charges for the sexual assault and all that. Obviously that he was found not guilty, which is a good thing, but I can only imagine dealing with all that stuff. Even after getting acquitted and all that, probably could have thrown off his head space. You know, you don't know where he's at. He took, you know, from 2018 to 2020, you know, that's 2 years kind of that he took off, and then he came back, missed weight twice. So it kind of tells me that his headspace still wasn't where it needed to be when he came back to fight those fights, which is unfortunate. But, you know, obviously, yeah, he just needed to get into a better space. Was missing weight too, so it's good to see him move up to middleweight. I really personally think it's his fight to lose. You know, he wants to get in there. He wants to get back to his winning ways, and he doesn't have to cut weight. So if that was an issue, we'll see what he can do now. But yeah, he's got to go in there and he's got to dominate. He's got the smaller cage to do it. You know, Malkoun coming in here with 4-1. I really do think it's Al Hassan's fight to lose, and I kind of expect a brutal KO in this one for Al Hassan. I think he's going to go for broke in this one. And then you have Arlovski taking on Chase Sherman. Arlovski, man, he's always around. He's a veteran in the game, a legend in the game. He's always around. He can definitely box people up. He's not necessarily one guy to like knock people out with one shot. He can, obviously, it's heavyweight, but he's been, you know, in this division when he's fighting guys that are just like one shot KO and they're younger and all that, he definitely struggles with that kind of fighter. But that being said, I do think overall Chase Sherman isn't necessarily the guy that's going to be doing that to him. I don't think Chase Sherman is, and I think Chase Sherman actually is coming off some steroid stuff, so that's interesting to think about too, which isn't a good thing because, you know, how is he going to look for this fight? Is he going to be on something? Who knows, right? I mean, Chase Sherman looked good in his last fight, but then he tested positive for steroids. So we'll have to see how it plays out. But I'm going to go Arlovski on this one because I really do think that overall, Arlovski, he's obviously not on steroids, and he can definitely win a decision fight. He's not going to just knock people out. He can know how to point fight. He can jab you up. He can box you up pretty well. And, you know, ironically speaking, even use the grappling if he needs to. Unless Sherman just goes out there and blitzes him and takes him out, which is a high possibility. I'm interested to see how Sherman will look. And I think if Arlovski can survive here, he can kind of pull off that veteran heavyweight performance and not get taken out and kind of just beat him up. So Definitely gonna go with Andre Arlovski on this one, and the guy's got 50 fights. I mean, he's 30-20, so it's just one of those things where you can never count this guy out. And then we have the co-main event of the evening. We've got Jeremy Stephens taking on Jakar Klose. And this is going to be a good fight, I think, especially in a smaller octagon. I think this actually might benefit Stephens just because Stephens is usually trying to be the aggressor in his fights. And has it worked out for him in the past couple of fights? I think he's moving up, though, from featherweight to 155. So we'll see how he looks there. He's fought there before. Another veteran in the game. Stephens coming off a loss against Calvin Kattar. Obviously, Kattar, though, is a brutal guy. He got knocked out with elbows, just a vicious KO. He lost to Yair Rodriguez. No contested with Yair Rodriguez because the accidental eye poke. He lost to Zabit Magomed Sharipov, Jose Aldo. And then his last win was against Josh Emmett in February 24th of 2018. So he obviously needs a win. He probably is hungry to get a win. And, you know, what a better way to get it against a guy like Jakar Klose, who's going to come in here with a loss to Beneil Dariush, where it just kind of got ugly in there, and they were both just throwing down, and, you know, Klose hurt him, then he hurt him, and then he obviously got knocked out by Beneil Dariush. He's a grinder, in my opinion. He definitely has power. He's definitely a good a grinder, though. He has that wrestling. He can put you up against the fence. His striking isn't bad either. My only thing, though, is Stephens. Man, Stephens, again, another one of these fighters where he has nothing to lose in this fight. He's probably going to go out there. He's trying to win the knockout, try to be aggressive, try to show that, hey, look, you know, I'm still here. Don't count me out. And he's hungry for a win, whereas Klose, yes, he did lose his last fight, but he's not coming off like 5 losses in a row. And his last win wasn't in like 2018. So it's a big stage, though. It's definitely a big stage. One thing I will say, though, Stephens has been here before, and my man, he's very aggressive. If he can kind of get away from the grappling in this fight, set some things up, and not necessarily headhunt the whole time, I think he can be violent in this one. Do I think he gets a finish? I mean, I think either guy, depending on how the fight goes, can get a finish. But I would expect, like, Stephens, if he gets a finish, it's probably going to be nasty, so... And you know, both guys being KO'd, I feel like Stephens, he's been KO'd before, so I don't know if he's going to be too, you know, oh shit, what do I do? And he's fought top level competition, man. He's fought some killers. He's fought the best of the best. And, you know, Klose, this is probably one of his biggest fights as far as like competition is concerned. So we'll see how he's able to do. A little bit worried about Jeremy Stephens' chin, but I'm glad that he doesn't have to cut weight. I'm glad that he can weigh in at 155. Maybe that'll help him. Who knows? And like I said, his back's against the wall. So I'll go Jeremy Stephens on this one. Man, does he finish him? You know, I'll take Jeremy Stephens to win against Jakar Klose. I'll take him to win by a decision. So we move on into the main event, and this is the fight that I'm really looking forward to. I really think this is a great middleweight fight. I'm glad these guys are finally fighting. Robert Whittaker taking on Kelvin Gastelum. For Robert Whittaker, I mean, we know him, man. He used to be a champion, all-around fighter. He can defend the takedowns. He can even get his own takedowns, depending on who he's fighting. Really good striking. He hits you with the 1-2, throws that high kick up, and just clocks you in the head. You don't even see it coming. We saw it in his last fight against Jared Cannonier. Really good fight for him, too, in that fight. I think he kind of beat him up. And Cannonier, in the beginning, you know, he drops him with the leg kick and keeps slamming into his leg, but Whittaker was able to adapt to the fight and impose his jab, really nasty jab that Whittaker has that he's able to use. Now, the one thing I will say, though, for this fight is Kelvin Gastelum, he kind of has that speed advantage when it comes to some of these guys. Is he's the smaller guy some of the times, but he lands some of his strikes so quickly that it's just dominant fashion, and he does have good wrestling. So we're gonna have to see in this fight how he looks against Robert Whittaker, if Whittaker is the one that's able to defend the takedowns, if he tries to get taken down, or if it's kind of like a stand-up fight. And Whittaker has to be careful, man, because you know, Gastelum, smaller guy, but he's fast. You know, he's really fast, coming off a win against Ian Heinisch, which I think he was supposed to win that fight. You know, he's coming in getting a decision victory. He got tapped out by Jack Hermanson, you know, a bigger fighter, lost to Darren Till. Lost to the champion, Israel Adesanya. That was a great fight, though. He beat Ronaldo Souza, and then, he obviously KO'd Michael Bisping, and then lost to Chris Weidman. But Kelvin Gastelum's a really good fighter. I wouldn't count him out in this fight, but man, watching Robert Whittaker fight, he just has that champion mentality, and I think overall, you know, he has speed too. You know, let's not forget, he can definitely set things up very quickly. He can knock these people out. He's gone 5 rounds with some of the best fighters in the world, just like Kelvin Gastelum. So I don't want to take away anything from either of these fighters. But Robert Whittaker, obviously, his only loss was against Israel Adesanya. That was unfortunate, but you know, we've obviously seen Israel Adesanya, when he's able to keep the fight standing, man, he's one of the dangerous guys in the world. But you know, Whittaker looked good against Dern too. He faced a little bit of adversity in both of these fights with Till and Connier. Got dropped a little bit wobbled, but man, he's a tough fighter, and his cardio, you know, it's nothing to worry about necessarily. So I think Whittaker can kind of just not get taken down, set up striking, and just keep that pace and keep going and going and going. And maybe he tries to impose some of his grappling on Gastelum. I don't know. It just depends. But I would assume that Gastelum tries to strike with him. I think it'll be a striking fight. And whether it's going to be an exciting striking fight, or it could be like the Yoel Romero fights where it's kind of like, what are we doing? It definitely could be like that. But I want to see, you know, I think Robert Whittaker is going to go out there. I think we're going to see him definitely use a lot of his tools, a lot of his striking, setting up the head kicks, and kind of just, and he has that wide stance. So he's definitely going to try to strike. I don't see Whittaker taking him down. Maybe, but I don't see it. I think he can definitely take Gastelum on the feet. And then obviously for Gastelum, good speed. He's got to land that left hand. He's got to wobble Whittaker, see what he can do. I mean, we'll see. Don't count Kelvin Gastelum out, but I'm definitely going to have to go Robert Whittaker on this one. I don't really see a finish, in my opinion. I really don't. I think both guys are going to be really tough to finish. So I'm going to go Robert Whittaker. I'll take him to defeat Kelvin Gastelum. I'll take him to win by a decision. I think it's going to be a really great fight too. So that'll do it, guys, for my UFC Vegas 24 co-main and main event prediction. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit that like button. Share the video. Do what you must. I appreciate it. And like I said, man, before, I got to do better on these picks because it's just not looking too good. But hopefully we finish it. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.